Hey there. All right, this is an important video. I'm going to walk you through the basic phases of a divorce case, because if you're like, hey, like overall, how is this going to work? All right, this video may be a little longer, so get some popcorn and settle in. All right, first thing that happens after you contact our office and get all of your engagement letter and everything signed, you're going to have an initial strategy session with your legal team. And at that point, if for some reason like it's not a good fit, or you're like, why did I hire you people? I don't need to be here. You can leave and get all of your money back, right? Like nobody is holding you captured here or anything at all. But if you're watching these videos, I don't think that happened. So you're gonna have that initial strategy session with your legal team. There, we're gonna start getting to know you. We're gonna know, are there any hot fire issues going on that we need to attend to right away? Like, is a temporary order is needed? Do we need a temporary restraining order, etc.? And if not any of that urgent stuff, we're going to start settling in, getting to know you and your family. We're going to go over your goals, like what does a successful divorce look like? What does success in a custody modification need to have in it for you to feel like, okay, job well done, right? So goal development, getting an overall strategy in place, getting to know each other. That's what's going to happen at the initial strategy session. At that session, if you're doing a custody modification, we absolutely, positively must have any and all documents you've been served with or prior orders, or you're going to waste an hour of all of your team's time, because we can't tell you a lot until we know what's already in place, okay? So initial strategy session, you're going to meet with your lawyer and your paralegal, and that's a good use of time and money. So they're both on the same page from the beginning. The paralegals help us take notes and make sure to keep us on track with the paperwork stuff that we need. And that way your attorney can focus on you and your family and developing that legal strategy session, legal strategy. All right, after we call that an ISS, the initial strategy session, after that, the next thing that will likely happen is some sort of initial pleading, that's a document you file with the court, needs to get filed. If you are the one bringing the divorce, it's going to be called a divorce petition or a motion to modify if you're in a custody case, all right? Now, if you're not the one bringing this and it's been brought in to you, then some sort of a responsive pleading is required. That would be an answer, or perhaps there's all kind of other things, motion to transfer venue, special accept, like there's other stuff that can happen, all right? So some sort of initial thing has to go to the court that says, hey court, we're here, we're the lawyers, we're gonna be representing our wonderful, wonderful client who we adore, and one thing may say we want all these things in the divorce, or one thing may say, hey, we see the custody mod, we're here, don't proceed without us. All right, so that's the first thing that has to happen. Then pretty quick, like you'll be triaging any issues, right? It kind of happens all at once, but try to make it in sequential order. But you're going to have the paperwork, the initial pleading stuff, triage phase happening at the same time. Like, are there any emergencies? Does anything need to happen right away? If so, that's going to set off a whole nother chain of events, all right? If you're watching this and it's happening to you, you'll know talk of temporary restraining orders, temporary orders, standing orders, protective orders, right? That is in a very front. That may have to happen, all right? But once we get sort of that initial thing set up, the next phase in your case are going to be disclosures. Now, there are ways around this, parties can agree, but generally speaking, you must do initial disclosures. Don't blame us, blame the state legislature. And what this is a putting of all the cards on the table, okay? Where you exchange some documents about your properties, your bank statements, money, and even some stuff about the kids. Both parties have to do this, right? It's collected a bunch of stuff. Think tax returns, bank statements, deeds, whatever. Stuff like that has to be gathered. Gather it all up. You have to do what's called bait stamp it. It's like a way we have to prepare the documents, and then draft this whole thing to give it to the other side. You do your side of the homework, we'll do ours. The other side's gonna do their side and theirs, all right? That, after the answer, the like responsive pleading is filed at the beginning of the case, that happens in the first 30 days. So right away, you're gonna have homework to do. You're gonna have a deadline when you need to get us the documents. we're going to have deadlines of stuff to get together. All right, so initial pleadings, then we've got the disclosure phase. Then from there, the roads start to kind of diverge because each family is different. It kind of depends on how much hubbubaloo drama there's going to be. But let's do like middle of the road. From there, your lawyer may go ahead and suggest we set up a mediation in your case, where everybody sits down with a third party neutral in different rooms, not like together, in different rooms, and tries to work out the details of their divorce and custody, right? You have with you the disclosure documents, so your lawyer may try to schedule a mediation, 90, 120 days or so out, kind of depending on how drama free y'all are. Because in the law world, deadlines get done, all right? And so they're going to want to get a deadline of mediation for everybody to work towards. And I don't stress too much about who the mediator is. We have a good team of mediators that we work with. We will make sure you have a good fit for your case, okay? We have to agree with the other side, so that can take a minute sometimes. But working towards a mediation, once that date is set, you got something to work towards. And then what normally is going to happen is, so disclosures, then set a mediation date, then get an inventory and appraisement together. Now, an inventory and appraisement, it's called I&A, but it sounds like I-N-A, the way we say it. It's basically, we're working towards a spreadsheet that is essentially a balance sheet of your financial life, right? Your assets, your liabilities, any separate property claims, reimbursement claims, stuff. We're making a big old spreadsheet based on the disclosure documents and the homework documents you give us back about the inventory. We make this spreadsheet that forms the basis of your property settlement discussions. All right, this is very important. We need you to make sure you find every account that ever existed, credit cards, whatever, because you have to name it to tame it. If it doesn't make it into that I&A, probably won't make it into mediation, and then it won't get awarded in your divorce, and lots of things can happen. So we're going to do the inventory and appraisement as we get ready for mediation. We will exchange it with the other side and then go to mediation. That's kind of a pretty standard thing that may happen. All right, now things that can happen along the way in there between disclosures and mediation for final orders. There can be a discovery period where things like depositions, requests for production, interrogatories, requests for admission, those things can happen. When I say those words, you should hear it, cha-ching, 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 because it's expensive and kind of a pain in the butt and a lot of work, and also necessary in a decent amount of the cases. Like if you don't have enough information in the disclosures, y'all got a lot of assets, maybe you're not super duper agreeable, you may have to dig a little bit deeper and get the discovery done. We may need information from a bank, some dude who lives in Colorado, a business owned in Florida that we got to go hunt. That can happen in the discovery phase before mediation. Other things that can happen before a mediation, like hearings for temporary orders, like what's going to happen during the pendency of the case, any kind of high drama things can happen along the way, all right? You can also have motions for third-party neutrals, like if there's some big kid custody drama, you may learn words like parenting facilitator, guardian ad litem, amicus attorney. That can come up in this, I'm going to call it discovery phase. It's basically like working up your case, all right? Still, we're trying to get to mediation. Like roads kind of lead back to the mediation point, because I don't know, last time I heard the stat, it's like 98% of cases in family law settle at mediation. Probably, statistically, you're not ending up in some big old jury trial that takes 2 weeks at the courthouse, all right? Probably, if both of y'all are within a stone's throw of reasonable, you're going to settle your case at mediation, all right? So let's pick it back up there. Go to mediation, and the goal there is to get a mediated settlement agreement. It's a binding, no takebacks document that deals with, generally speaking, the property and kid part of your divorce or the kid part of your custody modification. And we get the MSA, and that forms the terms for your divorce decree. All right, so mediation, we're trying to get an MSA on all or at least part of the issues. Then the next phase is the wrap it up phase. And people think, telling you, you're going to think this, that, oh, mediation, my divorce is done. I should have a decree next week. Like, what's the big deal? You just copy paste some stuff. No, you're only at third base when you settle at mediation. We got to get you home. That decree at the end of your divorce and all of the accompanying paperwork is about the most important piece of paper you're going to get in your life, besides, like, I guess maybe your kid's birth certificate, you have a baby, but you need to make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted. You need that thing correct. I'm asking you to take ownership in this part too. We'll do our part to give you excellent, clean, good drafts. Your job is to double check everything, every account number. This is your life, your money. We're going to work together to make sure that everything is lined out in that decree. At that same time, we'll also have to do things like deeds and liens and stuff like that. Then we get all of that together and submit it to the court if we're all agreed, or maybe we have to go to court to enter it if we're not agreed on what the decree should say. And then the judge can say that you're divorced. That process post-mediation can take anywhere from a month to many months. Help us help you move that along, and we'll do our part to make it as efficient and speedy as possible. Oftentimes the MSAs will have deadlines in there that keep things moving. All right, then the last phase, after the decree is signed, for 30 days, the court still has jurisdiction over your divorce or custody modification, meaning it's not really all the way done until 30 days pass. And then what happens is, that's in that little window and beyond, you're dealing with the AG if there's any child support. I'm telling y'all, dealing with the AG, I'm going to warn you in advance, it's a frustrating process because a lot of different people work there and you'll get different answers depending on who you talk to over there, okay? And I'm no shade at them, I'm just saying, like, that part will make you frustrated because you're going to get a decree that says you're entitled to a certain amount of child support, but there's going to be a gap between when your child support comes because you've got to send papers to the AG, get an account started, they've got to get the paperwork from the court, and then get it to your X Factor's employer, and then start withholding. You see, so that AG part, ask us and we'll tell you about it at the time, but it also is the tail end, and you're going to feel annoyed with the whole process by then. Probably, I just need my child support, and we're going to tell you it is a pain in the butt, and we will help you, but we got to do it together. All right. Now, if you don't settle at mediation, let's back up a second, and you don't settle at mediation, you don't have an agreed decree, that's when we start doing things like going to court, having experts involved in your case, preparing for trial, and that's a big whole thing. And I hope that you don't have to end up in that, but if you do, don't worry, we got your back. We can do that too. Most cases just don't end up that way. All right, quick run through of basically the life flow, the workflow, I guess, of a divorce and custody case. There's a lot more to it than that. Of course, this isn't everything, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how the process works. And one really important thing I want to tell you is, in this process, you're going to really learn in your soul what it means to hurry up and wait. It's like hurry, deadline, and then you have to wait on a bunch of things to happen. Hurry up, and then wait on the mediation date. Wait on the other side. It's like people, you've heard that phrase, the wheels of justice turn slowly. Legit, it's a phrase because it's true. It takes time, lawyer time, like, 2 months from now, that's tomorrow. Regular people time going through divorce, 2 months, are you insane? The timing is what it is. Usually it's pretty outside of our control. Divorces, you can't even get divorced till after the 61st day. And average divorces more like 9 months. It can be longer, it can be shorter. A lot of that depends on you and how much you're a part of the solution and being reasonable and moving things along. But there's your overview. If you have questions about this, your legal team would be happy to help you answer this.